I got a question on Instagram and it read, Mo, I got a personal question that maybe you could answer in a podcast or your newsletter because it's something I'm struggling with lately. How do you find goals/dreams? Lately, I'm not really passionate about anything, still hitting the gym, traveling and reading, but the spark is gone and I'm struggling to find something to work towards. It's not what to do when you got a goal. It's not what to do when you got a goal. It's more how to find one in the first place. Thanks. Keep up the great work. So this podcast is going to be on that. How to find goals, dreams, what to do if you don't have one, and how do you actually find the thing that you like care about, or how do you find something that you're passionate about, that reason to get out of bed in the morning. And I can relate to this really heavily, and I'm pretty sure everyone probably here can as well, because at some point in your life, you're going to go through periods where you don't have that thing to look forward to. You don't have that thing. Like, you're like, what is my purpose? What am I doing here? What is the point of anything at all? And I want to preface this podcast with, this is really important to have. It's really important to search for something to have, or not to be in this position, this gray area, this like gray zone where you don't have anything. Because if you don't find the thing, or you don't find something that gives you that meaning, something will be allocated to you. You will be given something against your will, or you'll have to do something that you don't necessarily want to do. It's like the guys that do jobs that they hate for their whole life, and then their life is miserable and they hate it, but that's all they do. They don't have any passions. They don't have any hobbies. You need to be conscious or make an effort towards finding something. So first thing I'm going to say is, before we get into actually, what sort of podcast do you prefer? Do you prefer the ones where I'm talking to you like solo, kind of lecture-y, preachy, like these ones right now? Or do you prefer the guests? I'm really curious, because at the minute I'm just doing a mix depending upon the guests that I get, what I feel like doing. But I do actually really fucking enjoy sitting down and just talking. Like, it's really nice to speak about something. And I'm like, oh yeah, I know some stuff about stuff. You know, it's nice to actually be with your own mind. And obviously I meditate and do all that stuff and I read and I'm not constantly stimulated, but it's very rare that you actually get to project your thoughts into the world and ask a question or answer a question and help someone. But then the guests are really cool as well, but it's a bit more hit and miss because you don't know if you're going to connect with someone. You don't know whether they're going to be charismatic, good at speaking. And then sometimes I find you have to carry the conversation quite a lot, and it can be quite awkward, especially when I really care about this podcast being like authentic and natural. It actually brings me a lot of stress and anxiety. I'm like, oh shit, I want this to do well. And I think that's a therapy session for another day, boys and girls. Mo's obsession with everything doing really great. And if it doesn't do great, then I'd rather not do it. I'd rather come up with all these excuses and like self-sabotage. Okay, but we can talk about that another time. Anyway, how to find dreams and goals. So this is something that's really important. And I don't think that you're meant to do a certain thing. I think that's the first thing to consider. There's not something that's magically meant for you to do, right? But there is things out there that you would love doing that can give you that sense of purpose. And it's just about finding them. But how do you find them? And before we get into this, it's so important to be deliberate with this thing, with pursuing or finding something that gives you meaning, finding something that drives you, that gives you that spark that makes you want to get out of bed in the morning. It's so important to have that, because if you don't have that, then something else is going to be allocated to you against your will. So if you don't find your purpose, then your purpose is going to be given to you, and it's probably not going to be something that you like or something that you want, because it's going to be in the form of a shitty job or something that's going to take up the majority of your time. So the goal, right, is to be able to get out of bed in the morning with like a spring in your step. Imagine waking up at like 5 a.m. and you're so excited to get started on whatever it is that you're working on because you're so passionate about it, or you're so excited to run home from, it's like that feeling of when you're a kid and you get Call of Duty or whatever new video game you get, and you like run home from school and you're so excited to play it. Like, it is the adult equivalent to that. It's like having a dream, having a passion, something to go towards. And we ultimately just all need this thing, man. So how do you find your goals/dreams? First thing is going to be, if you're in this place where you have nothing at all, is going to be movement. motion, like gaining momentum, inertia, this, and I speak about this again, I know I lecture about this all the time, but it's because it's so important for absolutely everything. You don't have to know where you're going, but just keep going somewhere. Go in a direction, take action. And what does that mean? Like, what does that actually look like? That means do something, do anything, create content, create things, try new things out, go to sports clubs, go to hobbies, like put yourself in new environments. And a lot of this probably comes from, if you're in this position where it's like a slippery slope that can lead to your death, right? A lot of this probably comes from, if you're in this position where you don't have any dreams or aspirations and everything is just boring and gray, you're probably in this position where you've like gradually started doing less and less stuff. You don't put yourself out there. You don't take risks. You don't do the things that scare you. You're not opening yourselves up in new social environments. You're not actually actively trying to like seeking out these new things. And then that in turn is kind of shrinking your circle and making you like solidifying you in this place more and more and more and more. So the first thing you need to do if you're in this situation is just try new shit, to find that passion, just to try new things. And it doesn't matter what it is. Like that passion could come in the form of a job, a business. It could come in the form of Muay Thai. Like for me, I hesitate as I say that, but a sport, right? It doesn't have to be Muay Thai, but a sport, something like this. All of these things, right, start from a place of like comfort zone and discomfort, like comfort, discomfort, comfort, discomfort. And at the minute, you're probably in this place of comfort where everything might not necessarily be good, but it isn't painful enough to make you want to change. So you stay within your comfort zone. You've conditioned yourself to stay within this thing. And then you'll probably self-sabotage as a result and not want to step outside it and try new things because you just have this like lack of ability to deal with any kind of discomfort or any kind of new things. So the first thing, man, is going to be like, look for the things that scare you. Look for the things that you're maybe withdrawn from doing, or you don't really want to do. And you can't really put the finger on it why. And the deeper reason why is probably because you're scared. So with me, when I've been through this and I felt lost, and I felt like this after I won my last men's physique show and decided I wasn't going to compete anymore. And in bodybuilding, I was like, okay, what do I want to do? Because every single man needs a challenge, right? And I'm a firm believer that every single guy should be physically challenging themselves to do something hard. Like, ask yourself, what is your physical challenge? What physical journey are you on? Like, what path are you on? That is something that's really fucking difficult, something that's scary, that's physically hard. What are you aiming towards? Like, and if the answer is nothing, then bro, go outside and touch some grass. Like, you need to be doing something, right? So for me last year, I wanted to have a Muay Thai fight because the thought of getting punched in the face was the thing that scared me the most growing up. And now that didn't happen because of surgery and various reasons, but I'll always set myself a challenge. And this is so important for that like masculine side of us, right? So now what I'm doing, I'm going back to Muay Thai slowly, even though I probably shouldn't. I do want to still step in the ring. I started going to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well, started trying boxing as well. So I'm starting to try all these things, right? And although I'm not on this clear path with my training, with my kind of physical health, I'm aiming towards this thing, which is one day to step in the ring, or this year, I actually kind of want to do this, enter a Jiu-Jitsu tournament. So something that is physically demanding, something that's physically hard. That's the first thing, right? So I think that's one of the most important things to have. And that's the most basic fundamental level, because anyone can go and start something new. Anyone can go and join a club. Anyone can go and begin a new sport. Anyone can go and commit to a journey, but you're not even going to start if you're scared of that commitment and you avoid fear, because when you commit, then you open yourself up to failure. And obviously it's scary to commit. Other things, man, it's like, why do you think guys get so obsessed with, let's say, like triathlons or Ironman or something like that? Again, something that I'd really love to do one day. It's because these physical demanding things, they give you that challenge. And I'd say this is the easiest thing to start on to give you that sense of purpose, is choose something physically hard that scares you and just commit to it. Fucking do it. Sign up for a fight. So do something that's completely out of your depth. Sign up for a marathon, and then that training will give you clarity, and that training will guide you, and it will push you outside of your comfort zone, which is going to leach into all other aspects of your life as well. So that's kind of the litmus test, right? Have I got something hard? Am I doing something hard? And I think if the answer is no, and I'm not talking about just going to the gym and lifting some weights, or I go to the gym a few times a week. Like, does that scare you? No. Is it particularly hard? No. So then if you haven't got any of these things, then it's probably a larger indicator that, okay, like a lot of stuff is not aligned in my life, and I need to start this physical journey in order to find clarity on other things. Change your environment. This one kind of ties in quite nicely, and that is, you need to change your environment, bro. If you're in this position where you're not super happy and you're not driven, you're not motivated, it's because the people around you have probably put you on this level. Like, look at the people that you spend the most time with. Who are they? You are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Are the 5 people that you spend the most time with successful, happy, outgoing? Are they killing it? And if they're not, then maybe look at how can you artificially create an environment or change your environment where you're around more of these people. That might be through going to a club, going to environments, like traveling, going to places where you're gonna be around more successful people. It's why I like skydiving. I spoke about this, I'll talk about it again, because you are in this environment of people where the barrier to entry to skydive is you need to be relatively fit. You need to be successful because you need to have financial resources in order to be able to afford to skydive. You're probably going to be fairly young and you're going to be risk averse, right? And the people in here, like, that you meet from skydiving, I've met millionaires, I've met people, huge influencers, I've met people that are absolutely killing it. And it's like, through changing your environment, by being immersed in this different group, this community of people, then that is a really, really good way to start to change. But if you're by yourself all the time, if you're around like people that you don't really like, maybe like shitty work colleagues, you might like them, but they don't have traits that you want to acquire, then no wonder why you're going to feel like lost and have nowhere to go. It's like, ask yourself, again, like a similar question. Are the people around you, do they have this like these clear-cut dreams and aspirations, and are they motivated and jumping out of bed in the morning to go and pursue these things? The answer is probably no. If you're still in this podcast listening to this because this relates to you, the answer is probably no. So again, change your fucking environment, brother. And that's why I created the More Life Network as well, which is my community. If you're someone that works online, if you're someone that wants to improve your environment and go on trips with the guys and go abroad with the guys and actually connect and network with like-minded people, then give me a little message on Instagram and we'll see what we can do to maybe get you in. But anyway, what next? Okay, so I've got a few notes in front of me. I like to do these podcasts completely off the cuff without any notes really, but I've got a few little bullet points that I wanted to touch on as well, just so we got a bit of direction and clarity, because I know I can go all over the place sometimes and just completely fuck up. But equally, right, I feel like if things are scripted, obviously it takes away the authenticity, but it gets rid of such like, it removes the chance for nuanced, interesting ideas. Next option for finding things, or next thing you should do when it comes to finding goals/dreams, is, you've had this before. Obviously, you've got to try lots of different things. Like, this is the most simple one. I probably should have started with this, but just try loads of different shit, and try loads of different shit through stepping outside of your comfort zone, through being a person that just puts himself out there and tries more things, because you're never going to know that you like something unless you try it first. And it comes back down to like this kind of depressive gray state where you don't really try anything and you're not happy and you've got a bad social circle and you don't have any physically hard that you're working on. You've got this avoidance of risk and avoidance of loss, and you're not pushing your comfort zone and you're not pushing your boundaries. You just get into this place where you don't try anything. You don't try any new things, brother. So try new things, put yourself out there, push your comfort zone. And the simplest answer for this whole thing that you're probably not going to want to hear is that it just comes down to doing stuff, doing something. And this is something that I've talked about many, many times in previous podcasts, but there's something called the passion hypothesis versus the, what's the word for it? The passion hypothesis versus the, let's just call it the work hypothesis. This isn't actually it. But the idea is that people, sometimes we say that, our passions find us. Like, there's this one thing that you're meant to do, right? And that is the passion hypothesis, this idea that we are meant to do this thing. And all we've got to do is like wait for the thing to come to us. Or maybe we just got to find the thing and that is our calling. But then there's this other idea called the work hypothesis. It isn't actually called the work hypothesis, it's something else. But it's basically this idea that if you develop a skill in something, if you get good at something and you kind of force yourself to begin and force yourself to get good at it, it will then become enjoyable as you improve at that thing. But the only way that you can actually discover that and find that purpose and find that meaning is by starting and is by trying, right? So it's like the idea is that, okay, let's say that you don't know anything about cameras and you get given a camera and you're just told to take a picture. It's probably not going to be very fun because you don't really understand the deeper meaning behind it. You don't understand how anything works. You don't understand how to take better pictures, and you take some like shitty pictures and then you're like, okay, well, it's just a camera, it just takes pictures. But now let's say that you're like, okay, I'm actually going to learn how to make a cinematic video. And you start watching videos, you start watching content on YouTube on camera settings and how to do the angles and how to do the lightings and how to color grade and how to shoot in log and how to do like camera movements and make stuff look cinematic. Then you make the video and you look at this video and it's really fucking good, right? Or it's a lot better than your original one. That is going to feel good. That's going to give you dopamine. That's going to give you that reward chemical because you're like, oh, wow, like, I'm actually improving at this thing. And then if you keep doing that, you're going to begin to identify with this thing more and more and more and more. And it's just like what's the word? Is it self-perpetuating? I don't want to use the word just to sound smart. This like self-sustaining or snowball effect where you start to find purpose and you really, really enjoy this thing. But it all comes just by starting right. The nuclear option for all of this, with finding goals and dreams, if you've tried these things and maybe you're just in a rut and you don't know what to do and everything is up in the air, is disrupt, brother. Disrupt your life. You need to set off the fucking nuclear bomb and just switch everything up. Sell all your things, move to Asia, move to Bali, Thailand, go traveling, and just completely disrupt your life. Because what have you got to lose? If you haven't got goals, if you haven't got dreams, if you haven't got a purpose, if you're lying in bed staring at the ceiling for like 10, 15, 20 minutes, and like I've been there as well, like every single morning, and you don't have a reason to get out of bed, if you don't have that thing, then that is not living, bro. Something in your life needs to change. So what you can do is disrupt your life. Turn everything on its head. There are people in the world called disruptors, people that are really successful. They create this like disruption in the world and they do all these crazy things and they take these big risks. You've got to disrupt yourself and disrupt your whole life, man. So take that risk, like do that thing, just fucking send it. And the thing that I love to think of, and I try and remind myself, is that life is short. You're gonna fucking die. Like I'm gonna die. And in a generation or two, no one is gonna remember your name. No one is gonna know who you are. You're gonna be skeleton and dust and like nothing in the ground, right? Everyone should be living with this in mind, and you should live like your life is a movie. We watch movies that are stories based on people, be it like real or not real. And life will be so much more exciting and so much better if you're met with a big decision or you're met with a choice or you're in this place of unhappiness of thinking, okay, if I was in a film right now and there's a film crew following me around, like let's say that this is the movie of me, which ultimately your life is, what decision would my character make to make this film good? What decision would they make to make the outcome of this film like interesting or exciting or good? That is all life is, bro. So rather than letting your fear and like what if win and all of these things that we're like terrified of, some rational, some irrational, just simplify it from that perspective. Like if I was in a film, what choice would the character make in order to make this film good or to make this interesting? And when you start to do those things, your life is gonna be a lot better and it's gonna improve. It might be a lot worse, but it's gonna be a lot more interesting, right? So that's something that a lot more people need to do. And let's say you want to make the world's most boring film about a guy that grows old and dies and doesn't really travel or doesn't really do much and doesn't achieve any dreams. Then yeah, keep on doing what you're doing. Like keep on doing exactly what you're doing. But think about if you want to actually make an exciting film at this stage, what is your character going to do? Is he going to drop everything and be like, fuck it, and get to this like point of change in his life where he just does something else, or he just disrupts everything and then goes to the other side of the world and starts traveling or starts his business and quits his job, whatever he wants to do? Or is he just going to stay the same? Right. I think this is really important. Really, really important. But yeah, man, I think that's most of the things, right? In terms of finding passion, okay? It starts from the ground up. It starts from motion. It starts from generating momentum. That's the most important thing. And it's these little habits as well, like these little things when it comes to focusing on facing fear, when it comes to like the micro builds into the macro. And it's so important that you make the correct decisions in all places of your life, in terms of like, you know what the right and the wrong thing is for you when it comes to discipline, when it comes to comfort zones, when it comes to doing the things that scares you. And this is something really stupid actually that happened this morning. And I was out I was in the kitchen, and we've got this back garden. We haven't got a fence built yet at the side of our house. And we got this new house, really, really nice. On the side of a house, there's no fence, there's just a wall. And there was this rubbish picker, and he was sat on the wall with his back to the wall, like on our wall, kind of leaning against the garage. And I wanted to go to the back garden to feed the birds. And I almost didn't go out to feed the birds because I was like, oh, I don't want the guy to feel uncomfortable, or I don't want to open the door and then for him to think that I'm going to ask him to get off the wall. I don't really want to interact with him. I didn't want him to think that. And like, this was resistance. This was a fear to me opening a back door and going outside. And I was like, oh, I'll just wait till he goes in like 10 or 15 minutes. And as stupid as it sounds, I was like, fuck that, bro. Like, I'm not doing this because this tiny thing is, on some level, I'm scared, right? Which is why I'm not taking action and doing this thing that I normally do every single morning, which is feed the birds. I like birds, right? The robins in the back garden, they need to get their mealworms every day. They got young fledglings to feed. It's very important. And I was like, fuck it. You know what? Make the right choice. So I just went out there, fed the birds, and obviously nothing bad happened. Just a guy sat on my wall, and probably disturbed him a little bit. But it's like those little things, right, build up to bigger things. And it starts at the ground up when it comes to all of your choices, all your decisions, like in the moment, in the now. It's like, I love this analogy because this is something that so many guys fear. And obviously I've got a fiance, I'm not going to do this. But the analogy of like, you see a pretty girl, do you start a conversation with her? Do you speak to her? Or do you let fear win and then come up with these excuses like, oh, I've got to go now, I don't have much time, or this isn't a good place to speak to her, or the girl in the club. I think that's a really good one because every guy can relate, where you maybe see someone like looking at you, playing with their hair, or someone's like noticed you, or at the other table, or whatever it is, and like that you can tell that they definitely want to speak to you, right? They want to interact with you, and you probably find this person quite attractive, but then you don't do it. You don't take action on it because you can't do all the excuses, or like, oh, she isn't looking at me, or she isn't interested, or what if people laugh at me? It's kind of the same thing with all of those like micro decisions and micro things that we're met with every single day. And yeah, man, I just think like off the back of this, how to find goals and dreams, it's just really important to be stepping outside of the comfort zone, really important to be taking action in terms of doing new things every single day. I say taking action, doing new things every single day. Really important in terms of stepping outside of the comfort zone every single day, taking action, trying new things. And then if you're still in this position, bro, disrupt, right? Like take bigger risks, do things that scare you, like get away from this risk aversion that's probably in your head, that's probably got you to this point, and just start new things. Put yourself out there, do the things that make your fucking heart race, and then you'll eventually find your dreams, or your goals, or your purpose. But nothing changes unless you start moving. Nothing happens unless you start to gain some momentum, start to get on the bike and cycle. And this is an analogy that I love as well. I'm full of analogies today. And that's like, life is like a bicycle. If you're trying to cycle really slowly, it's really, really difficult to stay in one direction or to know where you're going. Because imagine you're trying to ride a bike, right? Imagine trying to ride a bike as slow as possible, and you're probably going to wobble like left to right and swerve, and then you're going to fall off if you get too slow. Same thing with life, man. If you're going really slowly and you don't have a direction and you're not just going for it, you're going to fall off, you're going to get nowhere, you're going to get hurt, you're going to go around in circles, and you're going to end up in the same place. Whereas if you ride quickly and you just go for it and you send it and you actually cycle at somewhat of a speed in any direction, you're going to stay on. Things are going to be more stable. So yeah, that is kind of what you need to do, bro. But anyway, people, let me know what you thought of that one. Bit of a impromptu Monday morning podcast. I just wanted to sit on and have a chat. Any questions, as always, drop me a message over Instagram. Any suggestions for future podcasts, drop me a message over Instagram. Let me know if you like this format.